joining us on another episode of Adaptive Adjustments. I'm your host, Aunty Nika, mental health professional, certified mediator, and founder of the youth empowerment organization Children's in Action. Parents, today we're going to be touching on bullying, the different signs of bullying, the psychological effects of bullying, and how you as a parent can assist your child in coping in the event that they are exposed to such a strenuous act. So, before we go into who's our guest for today, I just want to give a special birthday greeting to the Education Research Officer, also our Health Officer at Children's in Action, Mrs. Candice Clark Jofield. Candice, I want to wish you a happy birthday. Lots of love and blessings from all of us at Children's in Action. You know, we wish you all of God's prosperity and blessings for many more years to come. So, guys, as we come back to the studio, today's guest is none other than Mr. Wendell or Dr. Wendell Wallace. He is a criminologist and he's also a lecturer attached to the University of the West Indies campus, St. Augustine. So, Mr. Wendell Wallace.
Yes.
Thank you for being on set with us here at Adaptive Adjustments.
All right. Thanks so much, Anika, for having me. Thanks to the Gael family. It's really a pleasure to be here to share some information on bullying.
Yeah. So, we're going to jump straight into the topic of bullying. Can you tell the listening audience what is bullying? Because some persons may have different perceptions of what bullying may be.
Okay, well, to the audience, bullying is an attack which is intentional, it's repeated over time, and there's an imbalance of power. And that attack is meant to cause some form of harm to the person who is attacked, the victim. So that's in a nutshell the concept of bullying. We refer to it in academia as the IIR criteria. 1, it must be intentional.
Right.
2, there must be an imbalance of power.
Okay.
And the third aspect is that it must be repeated over time. It mustn't be a one-off event.
IIR.
Yeah, IIR.
Okay. Intentional. Repeated over a period of time.
Yes.
And imbalance
of power, yes.
Makes sense. It makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. So tell us a little bit more about it.
Right. Well, when you think about bullying, right, Anika, when you think about bullying can take place in a variety of settings. It can take place at different times. It can involve different people. So you can have bullying at the home, you can have bullying at work, workplace bullying, you can have bullying at schools, which is the area that I am very much familiar with, and I've conducted much research on school bullying. I've presented locally and internationally. I don't know if you're aware of the Caribbean Color Splash, if the audience is aware of the Caribbean Color Splash.
No.
Well, that's an organization that's based in San Fernando, headed by Mr. Albert Marshall, and he has asked me to be a part of the organization, and every year they will put on these conferences on bullying, either to primary schools or for secondary schools.
Okay.
So bullying, as I said, it's wide-ranging, and there are different impacts on children. There are different things that we can all learn in the context of bullying.
Okay, lovely. So how does bullying affect the child?
Right. So bullying affects children differently, right?
Right, yes.
Because different children, they have a different level of resilience. So for one child, bullying may cause that child to go to the extreme. They may have suicidal thoughts, right? So that's one child may go to that extreme. The other child may simply ignore bullying, right? And then you have those persons in the middle. So let me go back to the child who totally ignores bullying and share some data. I mean, I don't want to come across as well in a classroom, but it's important,
yeah,
right?
Of course.
That only approximately 3 in 10 children will tell an adult that they're being bullied. 3 in 10.
So little?
Yes.
Why is that? Yeah.
Well, some children, they just ignore it and they see it as a rite of passage in going through school. So some children will ignore it. And then you have those children who will carry it to the extent, to the other end of the spectrum. And, actually kill themselves. There's one of the stories that I like to tell, and it's a video that I like to show students. It's called the Hope Witzel story. You can look it up on your own.
Hope. Was
Hope, as in hope, having hope, and her surname is Witzel, Wittsell.
Okay, Witzel.
Yes.
Okay.
This is a 13-year-old girl in Florida who some years ago, she sent some explicit photographs to her then boyfriend.
Okay.
Right? She's 13 years old, sent these photographs to him. He lent a female who was in love with him. These are school children, right? So he lent one of the girls in the school his phone to make a phone call to her mom. She saw the photographs and she circulated them to about 6 different schools in Florida.
Wow.
So this has so many connotations and so many messages in it. So I tell students, I tell young girls, adolescents, even adults, do not send explicit photographs to anyone.
So that's a type of cyberbullying. That falls under the cyberbullying.
Yes, she was actually cyberbullied as well as physically bullied. She went through the whole range of bullying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're all interconnected.
Yes, in a sense, they're interconnected. In some instances, you may simply get physical bullying.
Right.
In some, you may get cyberbullying. In some, you get a conflation of all.
Okay. So I want to track back a bit. You spoke about the children that ignore bullying, and you mentioned some of them, they may just see it as a rite of passage as they transition.
Yes.
Now, does the aspect of shame come into play as it pertains to ignoring? Because I'm thinking that if the child is feeling ashamed about it, they may not tell anyone. How often is that occurrence?
Well, that occurrence is real, right? So it's also built into that the child thinking that, they're ashamed of being bullied, and if they were to tell anyone, they wouldn't believe them. Because sometimes the child who is being bullied may be physically more imposing than the bully. So that child who is being bullied may think, if I tell anyone, they wouldn't believe. I am ashamed to tell anyone because it may be a female bullying a male. Right? So that component of shaming, it's built into the child not telling anyone. And in some instances also, the child thinks that nobody cares or nobody will do anything about it, whether it's in the school or it's at home. So they simply they develop a coping mechanism to deal with it. And that coping mechanism may be avoiding the bully, not telling anybody about it, or some children, they start cutting themselves, a whole host of things. But, as I said, there are those children who are resilient, and they'll just see this as a rite of passage. And this too shall pass.
Yeah, that's how some of them.
Yeah.
Okay. So in the instance of a child taking it to the full extreme, as you say, they may have self-harming acts, right? Some of them may go to the parents, as we on the topic of parents one time. How do parents what are some of the responses that you would have gathered as it pertains to the parents' reaction to bullying?
That's a really nice question. It's a really interesting question, right? You see, for us in the Caribbean, we do not take bullying seriously. So we go back to our days at school when we were probably bullied, etc., and we see it again as a rite of passage, but it is a very serious thing. So parents, some of the parents would say, but I went through that already. Or another common response is, you need to toughen up. The world is a tough place. Another response you'll get, but that happened in the workplace. You'll find that in the workplace, there's preparation. So parents downplay the seriousness of bullying at schools, especially when it can have very, very serious consequences. Yeah.
How does that impact on the child?
Wow, that's a really good question. The impacts on the child are wide-ranging. It's wide-ranging. So you have children who may drop out from school. They lost all. I'm telling you about A-grade students, who may simply lose interest in going to school, that particular school. Some children may ask to be transferred to another school. For some children, they start to self-harm, other children form themselves into little cliques and cliques, as they call it, for self-preservation and protection, right? So you have your little clique and your little clique, but that's aimed at protecting the child. Some children actually regress, you know, in the sense that you may have a 12-year-old or 11-year-old, and if it's in primary school, you may have a 9-year-old who has gone past bedwetting. And there are instances where children regress and start bedwetting. They start having nightmares. They want their parent to, they may even want like their mode of going to school. They might be traveling to school. And in fact, bullying can take place on the school bus, right?
Yes.
Or walking to school.
Yes.
So some of the children now, they want mommy or daddy to drop them to school. So it's a whole range, you know, from emotional, social, academic, a whole range of impacts on students.
So it's really up to the parent to identify these different signs and probe as to what is the cause of the change in the child's behavior.
Well, more yes than no,
Right.
More yes than no. The parents, they have a serious responsibility as a parent.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But, you know, in lectures to students and to school, I say, well, you know, you must tell your parents, because I said, remember 3 out of 10 do not tell the parent that they're being bullied. Now, the warning signs for being bullied are basically red flags, and these could be red flags for other things.
Just on pause.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 10 do not tell the parents, or they do tell the parents?
No, 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10 tell the parents. Sorry,
Right.
3 out of 10 actually
let's
tell the
make it
parents.
sure, right.
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so.
Yeah. So 3 out of 10 children actually tell their parents that they're being bullied.
Right.
So it means that 7 children are being bullied
And
the
not saying
parents
anything.
Exactly.
Right.
So the child or the children, they also have a responsibility to tell the parents or to tell a responsible adult.
Yeah.
But being children, you know that sometimes we do not tell our parents everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't tell them everything.
Yeah.
So the parent now, they have a responsibility to look out for warning signs. But the warning signs, as I said, may not necessarily be warning signs for bullying alone. Sometimes that child who, you know, decides or who shows a disinterest in school, it might not necessarily be that they're being bullied. But, you know, as I tell parents, these are warning signs. If you see these warning signs, then investigate, because something is happening that you need to be aware of.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, so we deal with that part.
Uh-huh.
This part here that interests me. You know, some parents, they reach it in the school.
Yes.
They're waiting outside the school.
Yes, that's true.
How are we dealing with this?
Well, I'm a parent,
Yeah.
and there's absolutely no parent who likes to get news that a child is being bullied. None. What differentiates a parent from a parent is your reaction.
Parents, you guys hearing this, right? What differentiates a parent from a parent is your reaction.
Yes.
Okay, guys? Guys.
Right. Yes. So, I have had to visit my son's school for a particular instance. And strange enough, the other party, the other child, his parent who came to the meeting was also a father. It was one of the few times, according to the teacher, that, you know, you had 2 fathers. They said normally it's a mother and a father, or more often you find 2 mothers. So they were quite happy that the both fathers came to the school. And I was very happy with the approach of the other parent, because I went there in my mind expecting a hostile reaction from the parent. And the reaction was totally different. I went very calm, composed, you know, with the aim of resolving a dispute between 2 children. Where one, it wasn't bullying, but it was a disagreement between 2 boys, right? And you know, as I said, it's the reaction of the parent that could set the tone for the child. So if you are calm, you're collective, you want to hear the facts, you want to get to the bottom of the matter without being aggressive, but being caring and concerned, that will send a message to the child. And both children on that occasion, they got the message. Because both parents, we were very calm, we spoke, we shook hands before anything even before the meeting took place. And at the end, we spoke again. So the children, remember, they take their time in from us, right?
Right.
So when they saw our reaction, their behaviors changed.
Towards each other.
Exactly.
Yeah. I can understand it because children learn as they grow and they learn by example. And if they see that both parents are being calm and both parents are actually being mature about the situation, then more than likely they're going to end up friends.
That's exactly what took place.
Right,
that's exactly what took place.
Because they're seeing that camaraderie taking place.
And I said, you know, it's their parents and then their parents. So you go to the school. I've seen both instances. I've also seen parents go to the school and they're outside the gate and they're cursing or they're in the school and they're abusive and disrespectful. But when you set that example for your child, sometimes, you know, it comes right back at you. So we as parents, you know, we need to set that example. Even if your child is being bullied, there are ways to deal with it. And one of the ways to deal with it is certainly not going to the school and cursing, you know, that to me, it doesn't work. It only sends the wrong signal to the child. A parent whose child is being bullied, you have a whole host of options available to you, from talking to the child, talking to the bully, you know, making other, to even if the other extreme of even going to court. You have a whole range of actions that you can take. And there are actions in between, but I certainly do not promote violence to deal with a violent situation.
Yeah, violence. I understand. So parents, we have on set with us Dr. Wendell Wallace, criminologist, and he is indicating for us this evening that parents, the difference between a parent and a parent is your reaction. You need to remain calm. You all need to remain calm in the event that your child is being bullied. You know, when you have to visit the school or you even have to visit the parent of the person who is the bully. You know, you try to maintain that poise, you try to be reasonable, you try to remain calm again, right? And not resort to a violent outcome because the children are watching. And based on your response to the bullying, they're going to foster a different type of relationship towards each other. So you want to keep everything peaceful. You want to keep it serene, and you want to understand that children are learning based on your behaviors. So, Dr. Wallace, we want to go into the aspect, because I know you're a criminologist.
Yes.
So I want to go up a little bit more as the children progress in age, their mentality. How? Because secondary school bullying is different from primary school bullying, right? It's a whole different ball game.
Correct.
In some instances, you would hear certain persons as they get older and they have that power and that strength now, you would hear them saying that, okay, I used to be bullied when I'm in school. And they kind of take it out on some, not all.
Yes.
How does that affect the child, the teenage child, as they go through that role confusion, identity crisis?
All right, so just to build on what you said, right? You have bullying at primary schools.
Yeah.
You have bullying at secondary schools. And you have bullying at universities, colleges, tertiary institutions. So for children, it doesn't stop at secondary school, right? As children mature, as adolescents mature, you expect a different type of behaviors. So that for the children at secondary school, bullying, you can have different levels or different typologies, different types of bullying. So let me look at it from the context of the boys. The general tendency for boys to bullying, two main types. Physical, so they'll tap up one another, etc., etc. They'll stick a leg out and trip you. Boys will take, the main form of bullying by boys is physical, right? Boys will also partake in what is known as taxing. I think every parent knows what is taxing.
The money.
Right. And mind you get tax lunch now, Yes, because some children, and personal experiences here from being bullied, do not give me monies to buy lunch in school. Give me lunch. Your children taxing your lunch now as well.
Okay.
Right? So boys tend to do more physical and more taxing. I tell the boys, I said, you're in school now, right? You are 14, you're 15, and you're taxing. If this behavior doesn't change and you are 18, 19, you're an adult now, you're in the adult world, taxing is now called extortion, and it's a crime.
Right.
So I try to show them that connection between what you're doing now and adult life. Girls generally take part in more social types of bullying, more exclusion. You have the cliques and the clips, so it's Anisia and her crew, and they tell, nah, we don't want you to be friends with her. She doesn't fit into the clique. Look what she's wearing on her feet, etc.
Yes.
She doesn't have the hairstyle and
Yes, the fight down.
right, and the rumor spreading, etc.
Yes,
That's how.
yes.
But mind you will have some girls who will be involved in physical bullying, right? But I'm just sharing the different types of bullying that you find boys and girls will take part in. So I don't know if that fully answers your question or if I have to go back to answer any part.
Well, I like the fact that you distinguish the difference in association as it pertains to the males and the females, because that's some important stuff to know, right? I want to go a bit deeper, especially with the males, because we have gang warfare taking place. We have all these crimes taking place. And some of them, them from secondary school, and them wasn't no bad boy. There wasn't, And the thing is, the gang gives them that sense of belonging, right? And then they give them a gun.
Yes.
And then there's the baddest thing out.
Yes.
And then they become a bully on the streets.
Yes.
So I want to draw the association. I want to help the parents to understand what is the association as it pertains to bullying, being bullied, and involvement in gang-related activities. Okay,
so that's another really interesting question, and I want to have you look at this book. The very first book I wrote, Better to Be Alone Than in Bad Company, and it deals with issues of gangs, and there are some connections to bullying in that book, right?
Okay, so we have this book. This is his first book. Dr. Wendell Wallace, Better to Be Alone Than in Bad Company. So parents, you can check it out. Where can we find this book, sir?
It had been I think it was at UE bookstore, but because of the COVID and all that, you can get it directly from me at 710-4688. 710-4688.
Parents, good reading for your boy children, especially girls as well, but the boys. Yeah. Better to be alone than be in bad company. Okay, guys? So you can check it out. Yes, so speak to me.
Right. So one of the things that you often find happening is that children who are bullied, some, not all, they themselves turn around and bully others. Right?
Right.
Think about it. You are tiny first former, you're being bullied, you're being taxed. Second form, same thing. Third form, same thing. And you hit form 4 and you have that growth spurt. And you know a very tall adolescent, tall physical looking adolescents, and you have the first formers coming in. What do you think would happen? Quite a few of those, exactly. Quite a few of those young boys and girls, I've had personal experiences where boys and girls told me, sir, I was bullied and I decided that I will bully others. Because it's just a payback time. And if that behavior is not controlled, because some people grow out of that behavior, if you do not grow out of that, then what you find happening is that some of these bullies can end up being adult criminals. So these juvenile, they don't want to say the term delinquents, but these juveniles who are running afoul of the law, bullying others, etc. If that behavior is not changed, they grow into adult criminals and become easy targets for gang recruitment. And not only that, but you'll find that some of the children who were bullied, they now see this as an opportunity for revenge and power. So the gang leader puts a gun in their hand. You were bullied in school.
And then they go back because you just hear them saying sometimes, he used to, I don't care about, he used to do this, he used to do me that in school thing. And any opportunity they get
Yes.
to bump you off.
Yep.
As a gang-related incident, they do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand the association.
Yes.
How can parents control the bullying behaviors from getting out of hand? You know your child is a bully. You have seen them done it. How does the parent now control that behavior? Because I know you mentioned if it goes out of control, they can be recruited.
Yeah. Parents have a real important role to play in terms of what they do to try to minimize or to stop, to prevent the child who has already become a bully from furthering their bullying behavior or behaviors. So one of the things that is key is to have an open relationship with your child or with your children, if that's the case. So you must always have open lines of communication. I'm not saying, some parents want to be the friend rather than be the parent, right? But you can be both. You must be able to have that open space where your child can communicate with you and let you know what's happening in their life. So as a parent, you keep talking to the child. You keep telling the child, okay, what you're doing is wrong. And if you continue with your behaviors, this is what can happen. So you show them where they are and show them where they can likely be if their behaviors continue.
Okay.
So that, the parents, they have an important role to play in stopping that bullying behavior simply by having very open lines of communication, being calm about it, trying to get to the bottom of the issue. And in some instances, what these young boys and young girls really need is just to channel the energies into different places and different spaces, right? Sometimes it's just, our society, or in some societies where, people, we reside in cloistered and closeted spaces in some of these high-rise buildings with little recreation. COVID-19 has done it to all of us in all that recreation has been limited, etc. And in fact, that has thrown us now into cyberbullying. So we move from physical bullying to the cyberbullying.
Yes.
But in the realm of the physical, whether it's the physical or the cyberbullying, what we can do is that we can actually, as parents, we can talk to the children, have extracurricular activities for them, let them join our police youth club, let them join Girl Guides, cadets, channel their energies into something positive. We have cricket, we have we have a whole range of things, drama. We can do so much as parents with our children by, getting them involved in pro-social activities.
So, okay. Pro-social activities.
Yes.
Just give me a little briefing on it. Exactly, as I say, different activities, sports, something they like to do, recreational activities, all of that would fall under the umbrella of pro-social activities, yeah?
Yes.
And this, as is just mentioned, channels their energy into something positive.
Yes, it does.
As opposed to focusing on the negative aspects.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. Let's think about it. How do we how do we know as parents? Right? How do we know as parents?
Bring me back online yet, huh?
How do we know as parents ensure that these activities, right, have a positive impact on the child? Because sometimes the child may be involved in it. You're sending them to, because some parents, they're good at parenting, they're sending the child to all these different activities. Yet the child still is the way that they are. They're still indulging in the bullying activities. Or let's say the child is being bullied. How does the pro-social activities, help the child to cope?
Right. So you'll often hear like begets like. Okay. Meaning, if you put children into negative circumstances, like begets like. They tend to behave in that manner. if you remove a child from a negative situation and put that child in a positive situation, a positive environment, quite often you find that the child will adapt to the positive. Remember earlier you spoke about children that they learn by seeing and doing, etc.
Yes.
And that they're resilient. It's very much easier to mold an adolescent, to mold a child, than to mold an adult. You would often hear in your community or for the older ones, the parents among us, they'll say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Yeah.
And you can't really stop an old dog from sucking eggs. So basically what we as parents were saying is that if you put a child into a social, a pro-social activity, that they will adapt to that environment. And I believe in that, right? Now, all 10 children, you may put 10 children into a particular social activity, but you'll find that 1 or 2 will deviate from the norm. That's part of the human, what we call the human ecology of life.
Okay.
All 10 of us may leave the studio, walk into wherever we're going, and one may fall and break a leg, right? But we still need to put the children, at least we are doing our part by putting them and by engaging them in pro-social, in positive activities. It doesn't mean that all 10 will act in a certain manner. But what it does is that it gives them the potential to do positive things.
Okay. So you're saying that the parents, we need to involve the children in something other than take them out of the environment, give them an extracurricular activity to take place, right? So it will help them to cope. It will also help to channel their energy into a positive way. So it works both ways.
Yes.
For the bully and
the bully, yes.
Yeah, the bully and the bully. They both get a positive outcome out of it. That's good. That's a good technique.
Yeah.
Also, they need to be a bit more understanding with the child. They need to have an open forum with the child where they can understand and get to the nitty-gritty of what's happening, right? In the event that they have to address the issue,
exactly,
they need to be calm. They need to set an example that would show the importance of being civilized, I would say.
Yeah. Breathe.
Yeah, the breathe. Yeah. And not take up the fight on their own, because some parents are taking up that fight.
Yes.
Right. So those are some really good tips. Any other tips you want to give to the parents?
In terms of bullying, these red flags that I identified earlier, they're key. Pay attention to them. If your child suddenly starts having, for example, possessions, you know that you send your child to school with a particular amount of items and the child keeps coming home with extra pencils and extra school bag, that might be a sign that your child is bullying somebody.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the parents, your parents and my parents, I tell people that your parents and my parents, they were the first police officers that we knew because they policed us. I could not come home with an extra pencil in my bag. My mother would know, because they made these checks and searches. So we also, another tip is police your children.
Yes. Check them.
Yes.
And if you find them with something that don't belong to them, send it back.
Correct.
Send it old school, parents.
Yeah.
Send it back.
Right.
Because as you say, bullying is intentional. There's an imbalance of power and it is repeated. So parents, you cannot miss these signs, right? You're looking for intentionality in their acts, right? You're looking for the repeated acts and you're looking for the imbalance of power. That is what constitutes bullying,
yes.
right? In the event that your child is being bullied and you need to go to the school to deal with the issue, parents, you need to remain calm. You need to set an example, as we mentioned before. You also would like to get the child involved in pro-social activities, meaning any activity that will be extracurricular, that will help the child to channel the negative energy into something positive. Also, it's going to help them to cope. Dr. Wallace.
Just let me put one final nail in the coffin, as they say.
No problem.
Parents, anytime your child or your children comes to you, and even for teachers at school, even you, auntie, if a child comes to you and says, I am being bullied, do not downplay it. They will never come to you again. Take action. Take action. And take action could be wide. That's the key thing. Do not downplay it.
Okay, so we just want to give them some of the key tips to take action.
Yes.
Right? That would be talking to the child. What else?
You could talk to the child, go to the school, call the parent of the child, and of the bully.
Yeah.
Inquire from your child, the victim, inquire more from them. Look for marks, for example, abusive marks.
Yeah.
Check to see if what they're saying is true. The child might say that, the bully took my ribbon, as the case may be, or took my pencil. Check to see. So you're just gathering all your evidence, but don't downplay it and say, that's a rite of passage. Toughen up, grow out of it. The child will never return to you with more serious issues.
Gotcha. One other thing. Cyberbullying. We didn't touch we didn't touch much on that at all. And right now, parents, we in a virtual world, so cyberbullying is taking place and we may not even know we being cyberbullied. So let's touch on it a bit because we have the cell phones, we have the computers. Talk to them about the cyberbullying.
Well, cyberbullying, when compared to physical bullying, cyberbullying is what I call it omnipresent. You can't hide from it. You cannot hide from it. With the physical bullying, pre-COVID, when the children were at school, the child might have been physically bullied, but when they left the school or they're at home, they're in a safe space.
Yeah.
But now with cyberbullying, there is no safe space. Children will send abusive messages to your phone. Mm-hmm. So when you're within the classroom, they would be putting messages in the chat and they will be telling the other friends in the classroom abusive things. They can go on social media, the different ranges of social media that we have from Facebook. My son tells me that Facebook is for old people. But all the different range of social media that we have can be used and they are being used. So the child practically cannot hide. As I say, it's omnipresent. It's wherever you go, cyberbullying is present at this time.
Okay, so besides the messages, the messages, the group chats, bullying, I know some of them would be sending pictures.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Photoshopping, all these different things. How do parents deal with that? Because in that instance, school closed. Mm-hmm. So they can't go to the school. They may be able to call the principal or the teacher. But how does a parent now deal with that from both ends? Because you're seeing your child going viral. You're seeing different things happening. How do we bring that child back from that level of hurt?
Right. As I said, cyberbullying is always present, right? Mm-hmm. And cyberbullying is it's difficult to detect, right? Even when you're in a face-to-face environment, cyberbullying is difficult to detect. With the physical bullying, you could see the scars, you can see fights, etc. But with cyberbullying, the teacher hardly ever notice. Even the parents, we hardly ever notice unless and until we see something going viral for with the child's photograph, or the child actually comes and tells you something. Mm-hmm. So the advice is that parents to keep checking their children's phone. Children shouldn't have phone with lock, right? As long as you're a child, your phone should not have a lock.
Yeah.
Your laptop is your daddy or your mommy's laptop. Mm-hmm. It should not be locked or have a password. I'm hearing, the new age parents are saying that, yes, children have rights and so forth. Yes, children have rights. But these things are aimed at protecting the child. Now, to get directly or more into the question as to what the parent can actually do, I said it's very difficult, but in terms of taking action, the parents can actually monitor. That's the only thing that I have seen, and in all my readings and experience, the parents just need to be extremely vigilant. Mm-hmm. Because you need to bring back that victim, you need to bring that child back to a particular place, and you also need to stop the bullying. So the parent on the other side needs to stop their child from bullying. So it's a similar position where they both need to take action.
Okay, I understand. Parents, there you have it. Today we spoke about bullying, we spoke about cyberbullying, and different ways in which you, as a parent, can help your child to get through the event of being bullied. So, I just want to be in the Christmas season. Mm-hmm. And I want to touch a bit about your mental health throughout this Christmas season, right? There are a lot of different activities taking place. A lot of persons have been unemployed. This Christmas is not going to be like the rest of Christmas, right? So parents, I just want to give you 1 or 2 tips to get you through this Christmas. First of all, put your God first, right? First of all, first and foremost, thank Him for all that He has done for you throughout this year, because a lot of families are mourning the loss of their loved ones, and you still have life. So it's not about having the biggest cake or the best ham or the biggest bottle of punch of creme or the most cases of beers in your house. This Christmas is about family, it's about love, it's about togetherness. And I want you all to take that away if you take away anything from today's episode, right? This Christmas, give thanks for what you have. Appreciate what you have, right, parents? Hold your children, tell them how much you love them, tell them how much you appreciate them, because as you could see, this COVID-19, it is not going anywhere soon, and it is taking lives. It actually reached to the children now. So you need to show your children that love. You need to show your family that love and affection throughout this Christmas. Appreciate what you have, because you never to know, right, what tomorrow brings. Secondly, I want to urge you guys to still keep your COVID-19 protocols. Social distance, wash your hands, sanitize. Forget about the paranging, because this virus is not playing, parents. There is no discrimination, right?
Whatsoever.
The frolicking, the liming, the touching up in and out of persons' houses. Be vigilant about it, right? You also want to keep away from persons that are going to be detrimental towards your mental health. Person that's going to make you sad. Person that's going to remind you of what you do not have. This Christmas, you need to secure your sanity and your peace, right? So these are just some little tips that I wanted to give to you parents as we go into the Christmas season. I want to wish you all the best this Christmas. I almost reached the end of my episode, right? But before we go, guys, you know, I want to give a special shout out to Bling Dong Apparel for my wonderful dress this evening, my tie-dye ensemble. Have me looking like a queen on adaptive adjustments. Thank you, Daniel Manet, for your selection for today's episode. Bling Dong Apparel, they're in Tobago at the moment. They're having their pop-up sale in Tobago at Beverly's Oasis Lowlands Mall. They're going to be there today and tomorrow, please God. So check them out in Tobago. Bling Dong Apparel, get all your needs. They have dresses, they have shorts, they have pajamas, they have casual wear, they have semi-formal wear. And did I just say dresses? Yes, they have a lot of dresses. Really nice Christmas dresses, guys. So check them out, Bling Dong Apparel. Also, I want to give a special shout out to Tech Talk. These guys, they have everything you need for your technology needs this Christmas. Things to bring the family together. If you guys looking for fire sticks, you can check them out. Tech Talk, right? They have fire sticks. They have dashboard cameras. They have tablets for the kids. So if you know your child need a tablet, parents, you can check them out as well. Check them out on Facebook. Tech, TECHTOCK, right? So guys, this brings me to the end of my episode, right? It also brings us to the end of season 2 of Adaptive Adjustments. So you guys can look out for season 3 of Adaptive Adjustments coming to you next year, right? As we go through the Christmas season, right, guys? Check us out on Facebook, Adaptive Adjustments with Aunty Nika, right? Also, you can email me at adaptiveadjustments@outlook.com. If you have any suggestions, any messages that you want to send me, my number to call in the event that you may need counseling for any issue is 309-9288. That number again is 309-9288. Right, guys? Today we focused on bullying. On set with me was Dr. Wallace, Dr. Wendell Wallace. I'm your host, Aunty Nika. See you on season 3 of Adaptive Adjustments. Also remember, for with God, nothing shall be impossible.
Amen.
Merry Christmas, guys.
Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bells swing and jingle bells ring. Snowing and blowing, but bushels of fun. Now the jingle hop has begun. Jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell rock. Jingle bell time and jingle bell time. Dancing and prancing in Jingle Bell Square. In the frosty air.